welcome back to the Off-Grid family. Today we're going to be dealing with something called Artocarpus heterophyllus, and this is also known as the jackfruit. The jackfruit is a ginormous fruit it's the biggest fruit to grow on trees, and it comes from Asia. Some of the biggest ones have been like 35 kilograms, which is just bonkers for a fruit. Now, due to the fact that they're used to growing in Asia, I doubt I'm even going to get these things to germinate. But I got some of the seeds and I thought I'd give it a go. First thing you've got to do is let them have 24 hours in some water to absorb all the water. So that's where I'm going to start. I'll talk you through every bit of the way, but as I say, I'm not too convinced they will germinate, but you know, we'll see. If they do germinate, then I'm going to have to look into making some sort of heat mat and some sort of lighting rig to keep them hot and humid and bright and beautiful, you know. But if I have to do that, if I get that far in this project, then I'll show you every step of the way there. Anyway, let's get on with it then. Okay, we'll start off like we have done with the wheatgrass and the barley. And we put our seeds in. These are a little bit bigger, as you can see, than your average seed. Unfortunately, these are quite old and they've gone soft inside the shells. So I don't know if this will work, but it's worth a try, isn't it? First off, what you have to do, cover them for 24 hours in lukewarm water, not hot. Now, unfortunately, I thought that might happen. Because they've got air in their shells, they're floating. Well, we'll just have to see what they're like tomorrow. They might have absorbed enough water to have dropped down. Otherwise, I might have to put something on them just to hold them under the water. They've had 24 hours to soak, so now I need to place them on a dry paper towel and let them just drip dry a bit. I will dry them off a little, but just very gently. Okay. Next, you want to get some compost. Now, I did not choose the best compost. It is absolutely pouring down out there and pitch black. So I went out to the first compost bin and I grabbed whatever I could. I couldn't see a thing. And I ended up actually filling up these pots, which were stuffed inside there. That's why I haven't got quite enough to cover all of them. But now what we do, poke yourself a hole about 1 inch down, just big enough to fit the seed in. Now, this isn't very good compost at all, but it's what I've got now, so that's what I'm using. Okay, and plonk them in. I'm not sure if there's any right way to plonk them in, but that's what I'm doing. I'm going to point them downwards, I think. Who knows? The next stage is to absolutely soak the actual soil until it is holding as much water as it possibly can. And there we go, that's it for tonight. Okay, it's just been just under 6 weeks and I cannot believe it, they've actually started to germinate. We've got this one here, which is there's most germination from, but as you can see, they've actually pushed themselves up from underneath the soil. So either I didn't put them in deep enough, or I put them in upside down, which can happen with certain seeds. They like to be up one way or another, and I'm wondering if I've put these up the wrong way, and they're trying to push themselves out. But if you have a look at this one here, we've actually got some leaf growth coming from in here. Look. We're about to have a leaf spring out. So I don't know whether to now put a layer of compost on the top, just a very thin layer, or to leave them how they are. What I'll do is I'll talk to my wife about it and we'll come to some sort of conclusion which will either kill them or help them. Okay, me and my wife have had a chat. She said, if they're surviving already, then what's the point in messing with them? And I pushed her further because for some reason I want to put a bit of compost on them. She said she suggested was, this one doesn't look like it's germinating at all, and it's actually in quite poor, lumpy, horrible mud. In fact, have a look at this. That is not good compost, no. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one out, and I'm going to change that for proper compost. And then I'm going to choose just 2 at random and put a little layer of compost on the top, and the other 2 I'll leave. So we'll have 2 that were just like normal, 2 that have a slight bit of compost on the top, and then this one which has been repotted completely. And I'll let you watch me repot that one because I know it'll be amazing fun. So this is the one that is absolutely, the compost was absolutely terrible. So I'm going to tip this out, I'm going to change it for some proper nice compost and see how it's doing underneath and everything as well. Okay, now I would not advise doing this. There's no need. This is probably going to harm this seed. I don't think it's growing anyway. But if it was growing, I think I'd probably end up damaging it. And I wanted to do this with the other seeds, but my wife quite rightly said, you know, what's the point if they're doing okay? It's only when they start not doing okay that you start fiddling with them. So let's try and plop that out carefully and gently. See which roots are, if any, are part of this seed. No. Let's have a look. Now there is a few small roots coming off that, or are they? Just going to run that under the tap gently. Again, I wouldn't advise doing that unless the seed was damaged like this. But I'm having a look at it now, and I honestly don't think it's going to survive. No. I'm not going to bother repotting that one. That one's gone. So let me get this to the compost bin a sec. It's a bit of a shame actually, because I wanted to see what they were doing underneath and if they were coming out from underneath or whatever. But all the rest of them are actually coming up from what I can see. That one's splitting, but I'm not entirely sure what's going on with that. So I'm going to just choose those 2 at random to put a little bit more compost on the top, knowing full well that this one's already doing the best out of the lot. So it's not a fair competition, like a fair experiment anyway. But just the smallest amount, and it's quite nice and wet. Where I went and got this much compost, I don't know. There you go. Now it's the waiting game. Once every month or so, or as stuff happens, I'll bring out another video to just show you the growth of it all. If this one gets a leaf, then what I might do is on my Twitter account I might take photos of it on like a weekly basis and put them up, but we'll just have to see. Anyway, thanks for watching. Hopefully in the next couple of series, or next couple of videos, I'll be making a nice heat mat and a very bright grow lamp of some kind, but we'll just have to see. Anyway, thanks for watching, see you again soon. Bye!